Hello everyone. So today, yeah, I mean, I'm going to do the live analysis of June, and we are almost at the end of August. So yeah, I fucked up. I needed to do it way earlier, but I was in my holidays. I didn't have my setup and so on. And anyway, so this is more going to be test of my memory. How well am I able to recall everything that I've done during the month of June? Because this is not the point of making target for the month of August, because I mean the month of August is already done. So maybe I will give you insight of what I've done this month, but primarily I will do maybe not next week, but the week after, the live analysis of my August training. Anyway, so let's get to it and try to yeah, to have some fun understanding what I did. So yeah, primarily I was in my holidays at the Gulf of Le Mans, and because for I have a real estate investment there, and so I was doing the works there and training on the evening. And yeah, so the first session just focus on the downswing, moving and bring the club down without rotation. So yes, during this training, my focus was primarily around stepping on my left side and dropping the club towards the ball, and just trying to have the rotation being a consequence, consequences, consequence, I don't know, of my yeah, of the momentum of the club, let's say. So here you can see. And also it allowed me to keep my arm really much in front of my body. And still, this is this thing I want to fix, and I already talked about in the last video, the fact that my club is going left very, very much, like that. And so I continue, and what I find very interesting is also, before doing that, I had this tendency of going a little bit too soon with my upper body into the ball, and by stepping on my left side and just dropping my arm and not trying to rotate at all, you can see that my transition, my upper body stay very, very quiet. So then I am, for the reason that you see here, my arm are way too much in front of my body, and my body doesn't rotate at all. So the overall thing that I was testing is not good for the overall swing, but this was a test, and this test allowed me to discover that by doing this, by just dropping my arm and stepping on my left side, it's allowed me to keep my upper body very, very quiet during the transition. So very interesting point. I like to have this scientific approach, which is I'm making an hypothesis. I test this hypothesis and I see what the result is. And this is the way I improve my swing. Overall, this is the way I work. Each time I'm going to train on the practice range, I have some hypothesis on what could be better to, and that what can I do in order to improve my swing. So I try to limit that to just one thing, even though sometimes I'm not able to. And so I'm going there and I'm executing what I think is going to make the change of my that I have think about in terms of hypothesis. And so and sometimes I just realize that what I'm doing is not doing what I expect, but it's doing something else that is actually interesting. And that was exactly the main point here. Because, as I said, what I want is avoid getting my club going extremely left after the impact. So this, I think, I don't remember exactly, but I think that was my main goal. But still, I wasn't able to do it. But I discovered that by doing so, I am able to keep my upper body extremely quiet during the transition. Also here we can let's move on, because this is something the push draw motion. Yeah, because what I've done by bringing my arm down, okay, that's good, but then I need to rotate through. As I said, we still see that my club is going left. So yes, I remember the first thing I wanted to do, which bring my club down, it was just bring my club down and rotate my face as much as possible, so I can get a really left a big draw or even a hook. And so that's why my hips didn't rotate a lot. It's because in the first session I just wanted to have this ball going extremely left as much as I possibly can by just dropping my arm and releasing the club. So then when I get this ball going left as much as I possibly can, I could just rotate through and doing some push draw motion. And this is what I tried to do there, because I've been able to do it, to do what I wanted. Yes, also I like to do some warm up with my wedges. So let's see how it goes. First swing. First of all, we see I'm rotating way more than on the first swing. Let's move on to another club. So yeah, we see, so my upper body stay very quiet. I like that very much. And then I'm rotating. I try to rotate through and get that's good. That's good. I mean, knowing what I know now, it's difficult for me to analyze this objectively. But one thing okay, the downswing is downswing. So one of my just thing that the thing that just drive me insane during this month was my club here. So not that the fact that it's crossing the line and so on. The fact that the longer my club is, you see, here is still no. I don't talk to Siri. Shut up. The longer my club, the more flatter I was getting. The flatter at the top I was getting. And in this session it wasn't that bad actually. I don't know why. Yes, you see here, I think it was my forehand or something like that. I'm already very flat. And then we move on to my wood. And you will see with woods and my driver, I'm just completely flat. And so and also, even though I was able to do what I wanted in terms of push draw and so on, what I realized is it's not it wasn't really easy. I was forcing it and so on, and so it led me later to try maybe to have the club drop a little bit more inside in order to have more room to make it easier. Because if we want to get some consistency over time, I cannot just do what I want, but in painful way, where I'm just borderline on each swing, and each swing, if I don't do everything correctly, the ball can go everywhere. I need to have some margin of safety where I feel comfortable doing the trajectory I want, and not being in play hard, basically. So yeah, even though the swing overall looks good, I was able to do the trajectory I wanted. My margin of safety was just too thin, way too thin, and so so let's move on. Okay, so building a more stable movement through impact and a better understanding of the dynamics of the whole golf swing. So this idea of margin of safety, actually I didn't understand. I mean, I subconsciously probably understand it, that I really tried to. For me, it was about at this point. It was about, yeah, I need to have a stable and fluid motion through impact, not and not having the impact being the the top of the highest intensity possible, and then everything dropped after, because it was about that until now. It was more in my mind, I was trying to rise the energy as much as I possibly can until impact, and then after impact, there was nothing, absolutely nothing. And so what I was understanding is that if I want to improve my accuracy and my precision and so on, I need to be way more fluid and stable through impact and also after impact. I really need to build this awareness of having a motion through and after impact to continue and all the way until the finish. Because even if I'm able to generally I hold my finish, it's more about I throw the club at the ball and then I let it finish until the end, and I just stabilize myself to the finish. But there, for me, and even there is, until now there wasn't even a motion for me after impact. It was just the natural things that happen after impact, that if you do everything well before impact, everything should be well after impact. And what I understand currently is maybe not. If I want to avoid this club going left, if I want to be stable, to have to build more accuracy, actually I need to have this motion after impact in order to stabilize the motion before and through impact. Because if I don't have any motion, the after impact, the most unstable, is the most unstable part of my swing is at impact, where I need the most stable motion. And so I think that's primarily the reason why I'm struggling so much in getting green in regulation, which is the primary cause of me not lowering my score. Is I get between 7 or 10, no, not 10, actually 7 or 9 green in regulation per round, and so I do my best to save the par on the one I don't get, but actually, I mean, it's difficult to score under par when you don't have at least 10 to 12 or even 13 green in regulation. So that's painful. You can do it, but that's very painful. And so and I think this is primarily because I don't have this fluid motion through impact and fluid and stable motion through impact. So yes. I don't know what I was doing with my backswing. It was pretty good. Yeah, anyway, so let's see. Yeah, maybe I think I was trying to rotate and just set the club in front of my body without trying. Yeah, something like that. At least it looked pretty cool. I mean, with my iron, always with my iron, because you will see just after. And the longer my club, no, yes, you see, it start flattening out. Nope. Yeah, and I lose the momentum of what I was trying to do because someone, a pro of this club, asked me to change my spot, and so you can see now I came back to my old demon, and my club is just flattening out extremely. Actually, it's with this iron, I think it's maybe a 6 or 7 iron. It it's perfectly in plane. Nothing to say about it. But I know that after with let's move on to the next club. Yes, a wood. So it was maybe a 5 iron. So you can see my club is just flattening out drastically. Good luck positions. Also, I don't know, maybe this is also this fact that I'm bringing my arm so much in front of my body that, of course, if I don't stop and get the club moving left, I will just push the ball really hard to the right. And so that was something I don't know, I thought later. Probably 6 or 7 iron here. No, anyway, let's move on. No, this backswing wasn't that bad actually. Yeah, and here I was still trying to do this motion of stepping on my left hand and dropping the club, and so the ball goes left and then turning. But I don't know what I was. So you can see here the issue. I need to wait so much to bring the club back that then I don't have the time, because it's less than yes, it's 1/10 of 2/10 of a no. Oh, yes, maybe 1/10 of a second and so on. So even though on the ID is not that bad, it works only with a shorter iron with lower speed. Where with my longer club with like a wood, if I just wait to have my arm coming back in front, then I don't have the time to rotate. And that's why my margin of safety was actually really thin. Let's move on. Session 4. So it was a 6 and 4 and a 3 wood. So now it's a 7. So yes, I changed. Yes, pair and non-pairs anyway. Working on the fall-through motion to stabilize the motion through impact. So yeah, I was pretty happy with what I was doing in my backswing, the beginning of the downswing, but really I just wasn't able to get what I wanted on the impact and follow through. And so I was a little bit stuck in my mind about that. Also, a little bit windy, as you can see. So let's see. Still good on the backswing. Actually, that's really good that I'm coming back to this, because since the end of the month of June and during all these months of August, I really struggled with my backswing. I didn't remember that it was actually not that bad. Just that, yeah, my hands are very inside, but maybe that's not that big of a deal. I mean, maybe that was that I didn't want to. I don't know, but it was not that bad. So here I come down. You can see that I'm focusing less on dropping the club down, and so my upper body is a little bit more active, but that's still fine. That's still fine. And yeah. So overall swing is good. I mean, 19 minutes. Oh, I'm doing pretty well this time. I'm not remembering that much. Oh, I don't remember. What did I do? Oh, because this is a pretty awesome. Oh, wow. I don't remember what I did. So it looks that fucking awesome. Yeah, I'm still struggling. 7 iron, let's see. Yeah, also, yeah, this idea of stepping and letting my arm drop create this massive squat that I already do in my swing in general, but now that I'm yeah, here I was trying a different backswing where I was just trying to set my wrist in the plane going back and to see how it look on the camera, but it just get my club really flat. And you can see with my wood, just maybe just my backswing, I go way too far, but the issue is if I go just a little bit less far in my backswing, I just feel that I don't have any power. I'm not able to generate any power. So that's very complicated because I'm very flexible actually. So for me to this was nice. No, I mean actually I'm really pleased on how it looked, but it just feel not comfortable at all. I mean, I didn't have any control over what I was doing, so yeah. And I think that's also one thing that is really interesting is during the past few years I really struggled to fix myself, to just do the same thing over and over and don't test things in different direction. But now that I start getting pretty pleased about how my swing is looking, I start changing less and less things, and the thing I'm changing are more subtle, just a few tweaks here and there. But yeah, I still have a lot of work to do just to stop changing stuff. So try to keep my arm in forward. After the takeaway, as I set the club vertically. Oh yeah, I was trying because as you can see here my arm was really behind, and so I thought, okay, maybe by keeping them more in front of my body I will avoid this thing of getting flat, and also maybe with a shorter club it was it will help me to not being that much cross line, but apparently it didn't. That's an example of an hypothesis that was wrong. I mean, I just cannot keep my arm more in front of my body than that. Maybe I just need to let the club set. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think there is much to say about this session. Let's see. Oh, I took the driver. Something interesting about this driving range. It's really short, and so there is something to, and the golf course is just after. So there is people. So I was really paying attention to the fact that to really drive the ball very low in order to hit those things that was protecting from the ball getting out of the range. And also because I was working on some stuff, I wasn't able to give that much actually power, so I didn't really get out of the range that much. And all what I'm doing is I'm collecting data. I'm collecting, okay, this works, it doesn't work, or not necessarily this works, it doesn't work. When I do that, this is what result I get. When I do that, this is what result I get. When I do that is what is the result I get. Sorry. And so over time, as I'm progressing, okay, I have all this knowledge that I have accumulated, and I understand better the swings, the dynamic, and so on. I'm able to really get fine-tuned into what I'm doing. So that's a long and painful process. Not necessarily painful for the people, for you that you are watching, maybe. But that's a long process. But I think over the long term, it allowed me to really understand the golf swing on the deepest level, and to be able to get the most out of it. Because once everything is fixed, when I understand every piece and I know exactly what I'm doing in every single piece of my swing, then I will know that I don't have to change things. And maybe I don't think I already talked about it, but in the process of mastery, once you reach this point, you need then to master what you are doing, and then you can focus on concentration and the flow state. But all those things that come after the technique cannot be done if you keep changing the technique. And so even though the idea of continuous improvement and so on over time, where you still work on your technique progressively over time and so on, and which most people do, and this is actually the fastest way to get success, but it also prevents you from being successful to highly, extremely successful. Because from good to great, and to be from good to great, you need to stop changing stuff. You need to do the same thing over and over, master that, and then focus on concentration and entering in the flow state and so on, to really unleash your full potential. Because changing technique, improving stuff, it's about increasing your potential. But when you at some point, you need, if you want to really get performance, if you want to succeed and so on, you need to unleash this potential. And this is what I'm struggling, because I'm still keep changing stuff. So I keep increasing my potential, but I'm still not unleashing it. So that's why I'm really trying to do everything I can to stop changing stuff, but I still understand more and more stuff as I go. So that's why a few 1 year or 2 years ago, I decided to go all in on that. I'm going to understand every single thing. I'm going to get every single. I'm going to understand everything. Have the perfect thing, having the perfect swing I want. Then I'm going to stop changing anything, and I'm going to focus on doing the same thing over and over and mastering my craft. So yeah, that's the painful process I'm in. At the beginning, where I was trying to focus on my backswing, actually keeping my arm in front and so on, you can see it wasn't that bad. But when we move just a little bit after, progressively my club get flatter. It just got really flat, and this one was awful, really, really flat. And so let's talk why I don't want the club to be flat. Because the flatter the club is, the more when you're coming back down, is going to come over the top. And so this will promote a downward angle towards the ball, which is not what you want with the driver. And so currently, what is driving me insane is, with my shorter club, I'm crossing the line, so this promotes an upward angle at the moment of impact, which is completely what I don't want. I want the opposite with my shorter club. I want to come down. So literally, I will need to have my shorter club being flat at the top, and my driver being cross the line at the top. So, and I don't know if it's just because I just have the impression that I'm doing the same thing, that I'm trying to do the same swing and so on. But maybe this is about the club and the swing weight, because I am more or less the same swing weight on my clubs. And so what I think is, maybe this is wrong. Maybe the longer the club here, the more force is going to happen at the top of the swing. The longer the club, the more upright I am, the flatter my swing plane, the more force is going to be generated. I need to generate in order to keep the club in plane or even across the line. And on the opposite side with the wedges, let's see. With wedges, you can see I'm more on top of my club, my shaft is more upright, and so on. And so the plane is generally more vertical. And this requires way less effort in order to keep the club vertical. And so if I put the same amount of force into keeping the club vertical with my wedges and with my driver, I will get different results. Maybe I'm wrong about it, but it's stuck in my mind and I can't get it out of it. So because I have the impression that I'm doing the same plane, the same strength of getting the club on plane, but I get different results. So what I think, and I would like to try when I have some money aside to buy a set of club, which the heaviest club is going to be the wedges. I probably like a D9 or something like that, and then having a swing weight that is decreasing all the way until the driver, and the driver being the lightest swing weight, which is completely on the opposite of what everybody is doing, because most people want to have a driver with a heavy swing weight. But yeah, that's just driving me insane, because I don't care of how the club is feeling in my swing. I just want to try to swing the same way and then having the same result in terms of how my swing is looking, and in terms of dynamic also into the swing, because maybe not the same. Actually, I would want to have the exact opposite. I would want to have a club that is so heavy with my wedges that actually I get flat at the top, so my club come back on top, and so I get a downward angle towards the ball. And I would want a driver that is so light that actually I can a little bit across the line, so it comes back more from the inside and with a upward motion. So that's what I would want to do. So I can go very extreme to that, and with my 7 iron and so on being really 7, 6, and 8 iron, just being perfectly on plane. And what I see is probably this will be a D5. D5 I think is what I have with my 7 iron that allow me to get perfectly in plane. What was this session about? Sorry. Rotation the wrist as I rotate through until impact. Okay. Yeah, this was this motion. As I'm rotating, I want my wrist to rotate also to really compress the ball. But anyway. Move on. Yeah, I just remember I completely lost that. The fact that I wanted to rotate and open myself while having my wrist that rotate. I don't know. Maybe not. Yeah, because I'm thinking about what I did during this month. Huh? I just completely lost that from my mind, actually. You can see here. And what I was thinking during this math is maybe, yes, I know why I deviate, because I wanted to focus more on getting my backswing fixed first. Because of course, if I don't get my backswing fixed first, then it's difficult for me to have my downswing right. And so what I was after watching enough of my video, what I was thinking is maybe it's just the way I do my downswing that is actually causing me to have my club flattening out with my longer iron. And so what I was not necessarily here, but here it's just the consequence. I'm just talking on top of my head. Stinger. Just yeah, because from here I'm trying to pull. Of course, I'm more upright, so I'm pulling forward towards the ball, and so by pulling forward, of course, I'm not able to maintain the club vertically, and so during the transition, I step on my left side and bring my club forward, and forward when I'm at the top, forward is in this direction, and so of course the dynamic of the club when it's coming back, then I want to pull on this direction, but of course the club is going to go extremely flat in order to make the transition toward where I want to go in the downswing. And so let's move on to the last session. And so what I was thinking during the month of August, and we will have the time to think a little bit more about it next week or the week after, I don't know. But yeah, I was thinking that maybe I need to be way more vertical during the transition, and this is some stuff I have tested, so I'm still trying to figure it out in order to have this, because you will see on this last session with the driver. Let's move on, because I was trying. Step on the left side. Boom. Actually, it doesn't look that bad on face on the downswing, except my right heel that come off, but that's fine. But the backswing just doesn't look that right. I don't like that. You can see here, I did a perfect backswing. Even though that wasn't what my main focus. My main focus was on the downswing, really rotating my wrist as I was opening. But in order to get a right backswing here, and that's why I don't like it, I was thinking, okay, I do my takeaway, and then I force as much as I can to stop the motion. And then, okay, so, wow, the backswing look amazing. But it requires, I mean, maybe this is that, but it just requires so much strength to just stop my club. I mean, to just stop my club in the right direction. I don't know, maybe this is that. Maybe I just need to work on that, resisting as much as I possibly can. Because yeah, it looks fucking awesome. Or this is what I'm thinking, which is about the transition. If my transition is more vertical, I can get a natural motion of having my club coming vertically on the transition, and so not having to resist that hard in order to, because what I think is, if I don't want to use that much muscular effort in my swing, because on the golf course, as I'm going to get tired, I will be able to less resist, and so I will start to doing bad things. So yeah, of course, everything I think about is about long-term consequences of if I do that, what is going to happen over the long term when I get tired, and so on. So even though in terms of look, it looked perfect it absolutely in. Not this one. This one wasn't that good. Yes, and then maybe the last one. I started doing some bad thing again. You can see here I'm start getting tired. I start thinking a little bit less about it and so on, and well, it start looking bad. No, I mean it looked good, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me that I've developed a bad pattern of going too long on my backswing and so on. If I build the right pattern and so on, it's going to be easier for me to hold to resist to the momentum of the club in the backswing. I don't know. I want to try to have a very relaxed swing as much as I possibly can, and not having tension, because yes, as I said, a golf course is long, and even I'm going to get tired at some point, and if the fact that I'm getting tired means I'm going to play bad, just because of the construction of my swing, that doesn't make sense. So I want to try to figure out a way without resisting, even though I mean this backswing looks just absolutely awesome. So backswing here, and then I'm resisting as much as I possibly can, and boom. But still, you can see I'm just there is also that I'm just so not used to do it that then the downswing is bad. That's why also I need to understand the relationship, because this is something I understood it really earlier, but sorry. But the backswing is a complete system. You cannot do something without doing something else. And if also this is something very important for you. If someone tell you that you need to change one thing and he doesn't tell you the impact that it's going to have on everything else in your swing, I mean that's bullshit, because you cannot tell someone to change one thing, because if he changes this one thing and until now he was able to work doing so, then he's going to break everything else. So that's why and that's why here, even though this is a perfect backswing, I'm not used to have this perfect position, and so on the way down I'm just, oh, what happened? I'm not able to bring the club back. And so maybe this perfect position is not the way I do it is not the good way. And maybe this is the fact that my arm came back way more in front than they should. Maybe they need to be more inside. I don't know. There is something here I still not figure out. And we'll see. I have some insights, some things I think that I test during the month of August, but we will talk about later. But yeah, anyway, so let's wrap things up. Yeah, that was a month where I actually understood a lot of stuff, try and experiment a lot of stuff also, but I feel that I'm really close to something, but strangely enough, it's very difficult for just to get these things through. And I don't know. It is I still have a lot of work to do. So see you at the next live stream, live analysis for the month of August, where I tested also a lot of stuff. So we'll talk about that at this moment. So thanks you for watching, and see you next time.